Yes guys, Championship Manager 0102, yet another video. The monster, the epic, the legendary Freeman online network game. We are almost, and I do stress almost, over the line of season 130. We haven't quite concluded it yet. We had a great session on Saturday to really put us within distance, and we should have had a session last night which would have got us over the line. But it didn't happen. Ian didn't pop up, so we're not going to get any game time in this week with work commitments and stuff, so it probably won't be till Saturday until we play a game. So I thought, fuck it, let's get a video out there now and tell you where we are at. We have actually concluded the league season. That's how close we are to the very, very end. Tell a lie, the league is already confirmed. That's what I should have said. But we are virtually there. The League Cup has already been claimed. The FA Cup is still there with some big names in it. The Champions League is still there with some big names in it. The league is already sorted. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. I've restored it as a solo game. And it says not playing. Okay, that's not a massive issue. We can do that, can't we? Okay, are you ready? There you see. So Ian's not logged into the game. But there you go. With 3 games to go. Our Chelsea have done it. Ian, the start of Saturday's session, was a horrendous one for Ian. I'll go to that without giving any spoilers in a moment, but he had a terrible start. Pep's just had a tough season all season long, to be honest with you. It's the same old story for Pep. But to be fair to Pep, right, I mean, and I do stress, I try to give him some positives as much as I can. He did win the League Cup. So Pep has won the League Cup, which of course, in itself, has put an end to Man United's dominance. 4 in a row from Ian. Pep has finally claimed a cup, something he hasn't won since 21-36. So well done, Pep. Let's go to the FA Cup. The FA Cup, we'll see Pep and me. Of course, let me remind you, I'm on back-to-back FA Cup triumphs. So will it be 4 in a row for me, or will it be Pep for a cup double? I have got 8 in a row for Chelsea for the FA Cup, so Pep will want to try and break that cycle of me making an attempt to even equal it. But to be fair to Pep, he's in line for a cup double if he beats me in the FA Cup. And finally, the Champions Cup. Well, there you see, Pepe is on for all 3 cups. I am on for potentially the domestic treble. Not domestic treble, sorry, the triple. It's bizarre, and Ian is looking to sort of save his season with a Champions League. Now, the semi-final draw's been made. Ian's got Ajax. Very rare to see Ajax make it to the semis. They knocked out the English team, Wolves, in the quarters. So great to see. So I will play Pep in the semi-final. Now, those games are fast coming. There you can see. I've got Stevenage coming up in a week's time, and then Southampton back to back. Champions League, both semi-final legs sandwiched with an FA Cup final. Well, what can I say? It's going to be interesting. Let's have a look quickly at my transfers, if I've made anything significant. Nothing really amazing, I don't think, since my last video. I have freed up a few players, and I've got rid of a few shitty bits. I say shitty bits because Pep's picked a couple of them up. Let's just see now then. So this guy here, Kung Wung Halverson, I located him, and Ian then found him as well, which really fucking bugged me. Fortunately, Pep didn't. Now, I don't know who he's a pre-gen of, who his pre-gen is, but I recognise him from somebody else over the years, and I think maybe because I recognise him, I think Ian maybe went looking for him. He's a great player. Ideally, he's a great left back, but obviously I'm not using left backs. I'm using centre halves. But so far in a couple of games, he's done all right. So I managed to land him, and I also picked up Daniel Vitor. Now, Daniel Vitor. No one found him, only me. Anyone know who he is? And I've got to be honest with you, this was a surprise to me to see that he was that he'd become in the game. Yeah, of course it is. It's Ronaldo regen. I didn't realise the old Ronaldo regen, Mikado, had retired. So located this guy. and wasn't interested in me, and then he became interested in me, and I knew I could get him for $1 million. I just had to do it quickly, right, before any of those cunts found him. And you can see he's had one game. My only thing about him is that he's not got any creativity, but I'm not fussed about creativity for his position. More about that in a moment. So that was my other transfer. Now, incidentally, right, maybe it's because I haven't had him long. Like, we've had him like barely 5-6 weeks. Now, I did a coach report on all my senior players, right? And it's funny because 3 of them, one of them said they didn't think he was good enough. One of them, they think he's useful. And 3 of the players, I thought, I agree with that. They can all probably go. Daniel Vitor, they said he's not good enough for Chelsea. Now, that's fucking bollocks. Because I know that's Ronaldo regen, because his balance, bravery and flair, his foot, his position, his aggression is all identical. So maybe it's because I've only had him for 5 weeks. I don't know. So that is that. Let's go to Pep, who's on for, like I say, on for all 3 cups. He's only brought Alfredo Foti. I had to release him because I needed the space. I didn't feel he was developing. The reason I bought him in the first place is because I know who he's a regen of, and that is Chiellini. But he really just hasn't done it. I mean, his loan spell that I recalled him from, was awful at Aldershot. So that is that, and Pep has picked him up. Over to anybody else of interest. Who's that? Zek. Great defender, that is Zek. I remember seeing that when Pep bought him. I think we said that is Vidic. And again, that's another one that went past me. I didn't realise the Vidic regen had become available again, or that he was about. But that was a great spot from Pep. And that Fran Garcia Sanchez, he bought him off me. Now, I should have gone. I was happy to get rid of this this Sanchez, and the reason being, let's just see who came to me then as a result of that. Jimmy Watson. Now, I'll explain to you why I brought in Jimmy Watson for the Resis, because you remember I said about this. I don't think you're allowed to have 100% foreigners in your squad and still be allowed to buy new foreigners. So I had to have an Englishman or a non-foreigner, so homegrown. So I went with Jimmy Watson. I was happy to get rid of that attacking midfielder because I've got a lot of strength in numbers in that position. Let's go to Manchester United then. I don't think there's anyone of interest that they've brought. I think that player was already there when I did the last video. Good youngster there. Okay, so, well, where do we go? Let's take a look now. Let's be a little bit selfish on me. I've already picked my team for the next game, and it's a complete reserve setup. Arias. Now, a question. Arias, the Colombian goal machine, he's going to be 33 at the end of the season. Does he play? Does he stay for another season? Because look at that, another 82 goals in 43 games, almost 2 goals a game is just fucking insane. I mean, even without Arias, Kune's done really well, 36 in 37. Osterberg, 18 in 12. You know, incidentally, talking of Osterberg, I've smashed the wage cap, so he's got a new deal, as has Kuhn. They've both signed new 10-year contracts. On the subject of contracts, Bazon, my defender Bazon, Victor Bazon, my longest serving player, he's been captain for a lot of this season, been injured a bit this season, but he's been a great loyal servant. I think he plays better at right back when I was using back 4. However, he is out of contract next season, so he'll possibly go. I've offered him a new deal. I don't think he'll take it. In the middle of the park then, so let's just have a look then briefly at my setup. I've called it the fast approach because I've added an arrow, just the littlest thing in the world. So this was originally the Speed Freak. So what I've done is I've put the 2 defenders at the back, either side of the centre back, ones with a bit more pace. They've got their arrow. My defensive midfielder, my midfielder, which is Maximilian Bazon, and of course my forward with an arrow, and Sanchez. Now Sanchez is the attacking midfielder, the Colombian, who has been superb. Because I've got a lot of strength in attacking midfield, because I also use the Hazard regen there, that's why I got rid of that other Sanchez to Pep. Let's take a look now then. So we're at 21.44. So Pepe is going to be involved in the Euros, the Euro 21-44. Pep will be involved. He's the only one. I'm not an international manager at present. And Ian is Brazil, France, Portugal, and Bosnia in the groups. That's not the easiest of groups of Pep, to be fair. But, yeah, so that's where we're at with the international side of things. And for Ian, I'm not sure where he's at with Brazil. Oh, shit. He is manager. Yeah, he's manager of Brazil. And they've started their World Cup qualification. So that is that. Now, I was going to show you something now, and I've just totally fucking forgot what it was. What a spastic. Okay. So, yeah. So, I was looking at my wingers. Now, look at Polo. Look at that. 19 assists. I bought him, was it March last year? Late in the transfer. And absolutely 19 assists. And even Gonzalez on the left has done really, really well. But my best player, as well as Arias was scoring all the goals, is the Modric regen. Look at that. 23 assists, 13 goals. Now, do you remember me saying to you before about when you buy a player, you look at his goals ratio, his assists or whatever. If it's not from a playable league, you can't take him as gospel. I can't, and I don't. Some people may differ on that. So if you have a player who scored 100 goals, but he was playing in the non-league, which is non-playable, of course, or he was playing in some fucking Australian league, no offence to Australians, whatever. And the reason I'm saying that is because that defender, that North Korean defender that I pointed out a minute ago that I beat Ian to, you'll see where I'm leading with this. That's where I'm leading with this bullshit. So we bought him from Jebi in North Korea. And 26 appearances, 26 Man of the Match awards, 11 assists, 10 goals. Let me remind you, he's a defender left centre. Absolute bollocks, isn't it? And even in the first season, 14 assists, 12 Man of the Match awards. So you're telling me, right, in 40 appearances before he joined me, 38 Man of the Match awards. Bollocks. 19 assists, 17 goals in 40 matches. Bollocks. And that's why I say it's crap. Absolutely. Unless they were fucking playing him up front or whatever, and he was the only player. I think I'd sent scouts out all over the place. I don't know, a lot of people, they say the scouts is flawed, and it is flawed, the scouting system, in terms of when they say Sigalko isn't good enough. Well, you and I both know on the ODB he is. But that's not what I do it for. I send it in case I can find anything, particularly regens, players that I recognise. And to be honest with you, right, I didn't look for this guy specifically. I come across him and I thought, fuck me, I remember that guy now. A bit like this guy, the Costa Rican. He's basically the other side of that North Korean. Can play right back, centre back. And, it's interesting because you send your scouts out, and you can come up with players that you think, well, fuck me. So I did a coach report on all my players, senior players, and these three players here, they all say that they're not the greatest players in the world. Mendes is probably going to go. Kang has only had 2 substitute appearances, and Mata, they say, is not good enough. Now, it's ironic, really, because they're the 3 players that have done shit for me, so I moved them with the plan of action to maybe get rid of them. But they also said, like I said, Daniel Vitor is not good enough. And I'll show you quickly. I've looked to getting 2 more coaches and a new assistant manager. So let's just do that. I think I might have already done that, actually. There you go. Look, not good enough. Not good enough. I mean, absolute fucking bullshit. But I'm going to keep an eye on that. Now, in terms of my goalkeepers, Milan Che has played every single game for me this season. 58. He's been absolutely brilliant, and to have such a class reserve as well, ready to come in if need be. We have got our third choice goalkeeper, Piscini. He's leaving, and then we'll keep this goalkeeper as our third choice in the Rezzies. In talking of the Rezzies, we've also offloaded a few players. Macedo, we got him from Pep, you may remember him. He just wasn't doing it for me. I felt so it was time to get rid of him. Castilla, I'm very surprised. Oh, he is tracking him. I told Pep that I was getting rid of players to make it space. That is Ramos regen, believe it or not. But it just doesn't look good enough. So him and Cellini I got rid of together. And I also got rid of my Croatian striker. I needed to free up some players. Now, I'll explain something to you, right? Do you remember me saying to you that there's only one team or one of two teams that I would leave Chelsea for? And if they come available at the right time, as in after the season's ended for me, then who knows? You all know who these teams are. One of them was on this list of slightly insecure, but they're no longer there. Arsenal. So Arsenal and Manchester City are the only two teams that would appeal to me. Now I get that Man City are not going to be there because they're going to make the playoffs. Well, they've mathematically made promotion, haven't they? Really, they shouldn't fuck that up. So Man City, but obviously unless their manager Robert Lawson can move on, who knows? And of course Arsenal, who are right down there. You see Liverpool are slightly insecure, so they might both leave, who knows? I want Arsenal because they've got the second biggest stadium in the game, 60,000 behind Man United, and it would be good to have the challenge again, but who knows? But with that in mind, right, if I'm truly honest with you, with that in mind, with Arsenal City in mind, that is why I tied Osterberg and Kuhn down to new contracts, because the way I read it is, if I was to leave Chelsea, if history repeats itself, Pep and Ian, particularly Ian, will raid Chelsea. There's no doubt about that, and I get that. I'd do the same thing. So what I would do if I was Pep, if I was to leave, if I was Pep, I'd apply for Chelsea and I would take the Chelsea job personally before, not just to have a fresh start, but also because if they lock heads to raid Chelsea, Ian will probably get Koune and Osterberg ahead of Pep. You know, and then if that happens, Pep is fucked for the next 4 or 5 years. That's the thing, you see. This is another thing, you see. If I leave Chelsea, right, and particularly if I go to Arsenal and go down to Division 3, it's going to give Pep and Ian, at least a bare minimum 4 years. And Pep don't look capable to win a title, so that could give Ian 4 titles in a row, potentially. And of course that then compromises or jeopardises my own record of 5 in a row. So, you know, it's hard to know. Do I want to leave Chelsea whilst I'm champions? I don't know. I'd like a fresh challenge, if the truth be told. I would like a fresh challenge. I believe Arsenal and Man City are both rich. They've both got money. I think they're the only two that have got... In fact, no, I don't think Liverpool have got money anymore. My old team, Liverpool. Oh, well, I got that wrong, didn't I? Arsenal have not got the second biggest. It's Liverpool, because Man United have the biggest. Of course, that makes sense, because I thought most big teams that fall down the divisions end up losing some of their stadium, so that's quite interesting. I thought Everton did. I thought Everton might be rich, actually. Let's just take a look at Everton. Wherever Everton are, maybe I got that wrong. I bet I've gone past them, haven't I? Where the fuck are Everton? Did I miss them? I've walked right past them, haven't I? Oh, fuck me! Everton not even in the league. Shit, I didn't even realise. They're insecure. 31,000. So they're not even in the league. That is fucking crazy. I didn't even realise that. I mean, I had a conversation, didn't I, about Forest and Liverpool were close last season, but Everton are not in the leagues. Look at that. That's insane. That's quite funny, to be honest with you. Okay. Well, that's shocked me. So that's it with the 3-man game, guys. Probably won't be another update now until probably next Sunday when we'll get a session in next Saturday night. That'll be our next one. We will conclude the league, the cups and shit, and hopefully we might make a crack on the Euros. So it'll be an interesting one. That striker, you know, I might get rid of him if I'm going to use... You'll see that I've gone to one up top now. Sorry, I should have said. So I've moved back to one up top. And there's a reason I went to one up top from 2 up top. I keep contradicting myself, I know. So I always rerun some of my videos to see if there's anything I can improve on, that sort of shit. And I was watching it and I'm thinking... So when I did that stream, when I was shouting a lot and my wife told me off... And I'd thrashed Ian 4-0, and I'd thrashed him twice back to back. I had 2 up top, and I'm thinking... I had 1 up top, and I'm thinking, well, why have I not got 1 up top? Why have I not retained 1 up top? So I decided to change it around there. I've made it so the attacking midfielder is the one without the arrow. It may mean absolute fucking jack shit. But in terms of my squad, I think I'm at my strongest that I've ever been at. It's fair to say. That is definitely my strongest. So there we are then. Ian continues to stay with his flat formation. Pepe. Fucking. Oh, fuck you, COVID. So Pepe, let me just point out, Pep has Didier Drogba, probably Pep's best player. He also has Wayne Rooney, Kane Lee. But, I don't know, Litiski, where's he been playing Litiski? I mean, Litiski, I'd probably play him there as well, but 9 assists, not really the sort of season he would have hoped to have had. It's an interesting one, really is an interesting one. So the way I've read my creativity, going back, I know, sorry, I keep saying I'm going to finish. I said to you that I didn't mind that Vitor didn't have creativity. So where I've got this triangle of players here, these two players and the striker, I'm not fussed about them having creativity. These three across here, they must. That is where the creativity it kicks in. I'm playing a direct passing. So we'll see how we go. We will see how we go. But it certainly looks like Bazon is going to leave. I don't want... I mean, I could keep him till the end of next season, until 32, in all fairness. I may still do that. I may well still do that. Diop has been absolutely brilliant for me. They put some real positives out on him from the coaching report, which was always good to see. Van der Steen, not sure about Van der Steen, but who knows. Right, that's it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week for what should be the conclusion of season 130. Till next time from me, guys, take it easy.